And, oh, you're recording.
Yep.
Yay. It's just, okay. So just to give you kind of a real quick, brief synopsis of who I am, from a professional perspective, I spent 23 years at Disney, ended up as an executive there responsible for live entertainment for basically the globe. So I had offices in London and Australia and Singapore and Florida and is it Singapore? Yeah, Australia. So anyway, a crazy career path that I never in a million years would have planned. And so that will all come to play later on in what we're going to chat about. So it was not my plan. Let's just say that. It was an amazing experience. Loved every minute of it. Feel very honored that I got to do what I got to do. But a lot has happened in life, right? So also spent some time as an independent consultant. So where you see me here is kind of my little office inside my house that I spent probably 7 years. Then the walls wouldn't talk to me. Very lonely. It was a big job. I was working for corporate SeaWorld with all the different properties that they have, both in Florida and Pennsylvania and California, what have you. And now I work for a nonprofit. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But I've had, and I hate talking about myself, but I'm just going to throw this out there, maybe to have a little ounce of credibility. I don't know. As Casey said, I was the state representative back many moons ago. I was also, when I was working at Disney, I had the opportunity to become the Disneyland Ambassador finalist. I was in the top 4 for, yes, 2 years in a row, and never became the ambassador. But that played a pivotal part in what I'm about to talk about. Also, while I was at Disney, had an amazing staff that nominated me for Orange County Businesswoman of the Year. Didn't deserve that, but super honored. Kind of fun to put that on a resume, right? And one of the things that you'll find as tears come as I walk down memory lane with all of you, probably one of the biggest honors was, look at this, Casey, I can't even talk. Being inducted into the Hall of Fame for Junior Miss. So my name will forever be like ingrained in Junior Miss in 2 different ways. And I'm sorry, I talk about Junior Miss. I know y'all are distinguished young women. It will flow out of my mouth because that's just my background. So distinguished young women, Junior Miss, same thing, same heart, same program, same everything, just a different title. I also, in my other life, I'm actually married. I have 2 amazing young men in my life. They're not young anymore. They're adults. 2 boys. Never was blessed with a girl. And now I have 2 grandsons. I've never had a girl. So you all are my adopted daughters. So, and then I ended up with a degree from UCLA in psychology. So from the education perspective, that's kind of me in a nutshell. Didn't think that that's what my degree was going to be in, but we'll get there. So I want to check the chat real quick just to see. Oh, yeah, I'm not supposed to read this.
We have
family tradition. Oh, Isabella, yay, hi. Connections with other girls, scholarship opportunities, yep. Debate captains, love that. So word of mouth, empowered women, essential life skills, absolutely. That's why I was so excited when Casey reinstated this. Let me just say, you all are amazing to be able to do this program the way that you're doing it right now. And what you'll hear from me is my experience was much different, and I hold it very dear in my heart. But I am also going to talk about things I know you can't participate in right now, and that breaks my heart. But I know the spirit of this program, and led by people like Casey, who understands the root of the spirit of distinguished young women, you all will have your own experience. Mine was different, and like I said, what I'm going to talk about is different, but you guys are going to create your own way that's going to live in your heart. And that's my hope for you, because this program is too special not to make it personal. Friends or past participants, I'm glad that your friends actually had a great time. Positive, yep. My mom and aunts participated, and cousins. That's so cool. Challenge each other program. Great way to branch out and get out of your comfort zone. Yes, 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 yes. That is totally right. Challenge each other to be a program. Something out of my met a former DOAW of Maryland at music camp. Awesome. I love how when people are involved in the program, that's one of those things that you can help spread that message, and we're going to talk about that. Watch a friend who participated 10 years ago and was Michelle, when you watched a friend participate 10 years ago, did you watch them at the local or the state program? Was it in California? I'm just curious. My mom and older sister. Oh, go ahead.
I watched a Sonoma County competition or program. One of our family friends, she participated, and I think she got second place.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you're in Sonoma County.
Oh, Carol Sheik. Yeah.
Oh,
I ran that program.
Yay.
So weird.
Oh, yeah.
I remember her. That's awesome. So you're from Sonoma County.
Yeah.
Oh, my mom and dad live in Santa Rosa. So just side note right now.
Oh, so do I.
Fires are better, right? You're in your house. This is good.
Yeah.
Okay. Stay that way. Stay healthy. Stay safe, please. Shafter, such a great little piece of my heart lives in Shafter. Shafter, like that Shafter program, got to tell you, they have always been like so rooted. The community is so rooted in that program, and love that. So thank you all for sharing those things. My why I got involved was actually my sister was involved in the program. She was 4 grade years older than me, and she became Fountain Valley Junior Miss, and went on to the state program, which at that point was held in Santa Rosa. Just so happened that that's where my grandmother and my family is from, Santa Rosa. And so I went up and watched her at the state program and just got so filled with how much fun she was having. She came back at that point, I think when Mary was involved in 1975, there were something like 70 girls in the program. In 1976, there were 76 girls. So anyway, lots and lots of girls. And so she came back and was filling me with all the stories. So I couldn't wait for when I was a senior in high school, because back then you participate. It's kind of actually in the scenario of the year is exactly the way it is this year. We had our local programs actually in the fall, and in January we did state for 2 weeks. So my why was I was a dancer, and I spent a lot of my time dancing. I was a ballet dancer. And so I thought, well, here's an opportunity for me to get to perform. And that's what I love to do. Oh yeah, and there's scholarship money, which obviously would help. But my sister had so much fun. That's why I wanted to do it. I had zero expectations, zero. I can't express that enough. The fact that I actually won my local was shocking to me. And so as soon as I won my local, all I could think about was state, because I had been there. I saw what it was about. I saw the camaraderie. I saw the connections. I saw the networking that happened within the girls in the program and how it changed my sister. So all of you who said you're doing this because you know somebody or you have a family member, same. So like all of you, at that point in time in my life, I had 2 part-time jobs. I was working for an optometrist. I was working at my dance studio. I was involved with Campfire Girls back then. I don't even think Campfire, well, it exists, but I don't think it's a thing anymore. I was on their district committee. I was very involved in other things. Again, like all of you, you probably have 15 multiple fold from what my list was back then. But I had also just auditioned for a job at Disneyland. At the same time, I was involved with the local program. So I had gotten a job at Disneyland for in their Christmas parade. So at the same time I was doing all of this, juggling all these plates, that's the day after I won Huntington Beach's Junior Miss, which I hate the word won. Let's just get that out there. The day I became the representative for Huntington Beach, the next day I actually had to take a take-home physics test. And I have pictures. So one of the things that's been happening, I was telling Casey, it's ironic that she asked me to do this. I've been going through, as everybody is in quarantine, right? I've been purging. I've been trying to go through things and found a whole box, multiple boxes, if I'm honest, of memorabilia from my time at Junior Miss and that time in my life. And so I've come across all these, my calendar for that month and those months leading up to it. And so it was a crazy time in my life. And ultimately I ran myself into the ground and ended up with mono. So here I was, super sick in these high-level classes at school. Couldn't go to school because it was very contagious. And I was going to say secretly didn't tell Disney, so I was very careful when I would go in for my shifts at Disney not to be around anybody. But the big question was I going to be able to be well enough to go to the California program? And so that was my motivation. I had to do everything I could to make sure I wouldn't let the girls down in Huntington Beach that I was representing, because I took that very seriously. So that was kind of my why for being involved. I didn't expect anything. There were 60 girls in the program that year from all over the state of California. I went because honestly, I wanted to have the same experience my sister had. I used to go in her closet and steal her youth fitness or fitness costume because I thought it was super cute, and she gets so mad at me. I mean, it's just little things like that that's what I wanted out of it. I never in a million years thought that I would get selected to represent all these amazing young women, the best of California, right? How could little old Donna be that person? So that whole 2 weeks I was in Santa Rosa, I made a commitment that I wanted to get to know as many girls as I possibly could, because that was going to be my experience. That was going to be my takeaway, was a network of young women who were focused on and driven to be the best that they could be, to be chasing after important dreams, to be inspired by the rest of them. You know, in high school, you've got a group of friends probably that think similarly to you, but they're few and far between. There's this broad spectrum of people in high school, right? Well, all of a sudden, with this program, you are looking at every single person on here is probably driven by the same things that drive you. So you have this collection of a network that is what it is for you, as long as you pour into it and you connect and make sure that those connections stay solid. Hard on this Zoom thing, really hard. So you're going to be creative. You're a generation, and that's the thing my heart bleeds for all of you, the people who didn't get to graduate last year. The people, when I watched the America's Junior Miss, the Distinguished Young Women of America program, I literally sat there crying, knowing that they didn't get to experience what I got to experience. But instead, they got to experience something I didn't. And that was how to rise above all of the challenges that you all are facing right now. How to create a new and unique Junior Miss Distinguished Young Women experience for you. You will be the class that people talk about for years and years to come. So you're going to make this what you want it to be. And there are going to be a lot of challenges in our conversation. I'm going to challenge you to do that, because you're only going to get out of it what you put into it. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later as well. So I'm a bit of a storyteller, as you can tell. So I just want to take you on a little bit of this journey. I promise you that the dots will connect. I know I'm going to talk fast because I know you all have better things to be doing with your time. But I wanted to kind of give you an example through my experience of Casey and I discussed this. I wanted to talk on the topic of get involved, right? So that's my passion. And I actually, when Casey and I connected, I said, I hope somebody else hasn't taken that topic because I want it. Because getting involved is so much about what you can control. There are a lot of things in this world right now you can't control. You can control your own choices. You can control your day. You can control what are you going to do with the 17 people that are on the screen right now and the other 15 that are going to join on video later. What are you going to do to make sure that this can I'm going to say blow your mind in terms of how your experience, what you thought your experience was going to be, and exponentially increase what you thought it was going to be. So I have a couple notes because, as you can tell, I talk a lot. So I want to stay on focus. Okay. So, sorry, hang on. So we talked a little bit about what the fact that I don't like the word win. So let's talk about that for a second. I took being Huntington Beach Junior Miss to heart. And I'm going to show you a picture that you're going to laugh at. But so let me set the stage. There's 60 girls at the state program. At that point in time, we'd had 3 preliminary nights and a final night. During the 3 preliminary nights, I actually, I'm going to say randomly, I was actually selected as one of the, back then, now it's called, what's poison appearance called now?
Self-expression.
Self-expression, thank you. Sorry, I've been through I've been in history mode. Back then it was called poison appearance. It's basically similar, but not exactly the same. But I had been selected as one of those recipients of that award. And I thought, oh my gosh, below my expectations. Again, remember my expectation was to have fun and to meet girls and to have a great experience like my sister did. The fact that I actually won something was never on my radar screen. I intentionally decided when I went to Santa Rosa that year that I wanted to get to know as many girls as I could, because with the intentional goal of being able to come back to Huntington Beach and tell the girls that I represented in Huntington Beach that whoever was selected was the right representative for all of us. Because everybody who is involved in the program, from local, state, national, you end up carrying with you all the people that you were selected to represent. That's the way I look at it. You don't win. You're not better than anybody else. You are selected to represent all the great qualities of the youth of today. So I seriously was afraid with 60 girls in 3 different color groups that there was a possibility that I would come back to Huntington Beach and not know the girl who won. That was my fear. So I wanted to make sure that I got to know as many people as I could from a genuine perspective. So fast forward to the final night. The format, and again, I hope you all get to be together, but whatever. It's not whatever. My heart bleeds for that. Anyway, I'm going to talk about me for a second. I get to final night, and they're going down and naming fourth alternate, third alternate, second alternate, and I had an idea of who I thought was going to win. And she happened to be my color group, and she actually was a good friend. And I'm like, Susie's going to win. And I know this. I'm so excited because I will be able to go back to Huntington Beach and say Susie is an awesome representative of us. And Susie was named first alternate. And here comes the tears again. That is one of the moments in my life that I can go back and relive in a heartbeat. I sat there in that moment between the time that they chose Susie as the first alternate, and I went, oh no, I hope I know who it is. I hope I've met the person. I hope that they're a good representative of all the girls that I represent in Huntington Beach. That's what was in my mind. And then this happened. You can't even see my face. I literally like, what? That was the moment that my life really, truly changed. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. To me, when I look back on this photo, it's about the expression on everybody else's face. I am so incredibly thankful for the girls that I got to represent, because what happened throughout the year was, and I actually relived this because I'm a saver. So as I mentioned, I have boxes and boxes of memorabilia. Yes, I saved all the notes that the girls sent me while I was in Mobile for the national program. And what I just went through probably a month ago, reading all of those notes, and how humbled I was to know that what they were saying as individuals, this wasn't, collectively they got together and let's make Donna feel good. Individually, they took the time to write to me and tell me how thankful they were that I was the one who was representing them, that they were so excited for me because it was me. And it took me a long time to understand that, but what it did that night, after all the hoopla was over and I went back to my host family's house and I sat there and I literally said, I don't know that I can do this. I don't know that I can carry the weight of the responsibility of all the amazing accomplishments of all of the young women who are involved in the program. How can I do that? Little old Donna from Huntington Beach, 60 women, how can I make them proud? And so I dedicated myself, honestly, to making sure that I did everything I could to honor them that entire year. I didn't do it for me. I did it because I had a responsibility to everybody else. I ended up traveling over 28,000 miles that year representing California program. I lost track, 27 local programs, and got a chance to spend the night with the girl who was in my year and reconnect and talk about college and talk about, all the experiences, and make sure she knew how important it was that they were with me every single step of the way. That's what this program is about. So after I was named, it was a very quick journey. So I was named Huntington Beach in November. I was at state in January, and nationals was in April. So it was a very, and mind you, again, I was battling mono in the early stages of all of that. So, and my senior year in high school. So with all math, science, all that you all understand. So it was a very quick time period for me. And the national program, honestly, I'm just going to gloss over because, yeah, I was a Kodak award winner for taking pictures. I didn't win anything else at nationals. It didn't matter. What mattered was that I was there representing the rest of the girls. Did I feel like I let them down? Yes, but I didn't because I knew I did the best that I could. And and if I wasn't the right representative, that's okay, because I knew I represented every single one of those 60 girls to the best of my ability to make them proud. And so my experience is way more about the California program, to the point where I had to go back and look this up. Casey, you're going to laugh at me. Let's see, 16 years, I volunteered at the state program on the production committee. So I was the production chair for, I forget how many of those years. But even before that, after I became California's Junior Miss, the Huntington Beach program said they weren't going to have a local program. So let's go there for a minute. They said they weren't going to have a local program. I said, no, that's not going to happen. There are too many important young women in Huntington Beach that need to have this experience. You're not going to do that through that community. So I took it on. 18 years old. I didn't know how to raise money. I didn't know. I connected with the JCs who had helped with the other one, but I said, I will take on all the work. I choreographed it. I got the judges. I connected with somebody I had met at the national program who came out and helped me. Had a very successful local program. I hate to say it, but it wasn't going to happen if I didn't take the step to say, I'm going to commit to doing this. So, and then it kind of snowballed from there. So throughout my time with the Junior Miss program, I've judged local programs. I've judged the state program. We just talked about the production committee. I've been on the board of directors. I was the appearance coordinator for California's Junior Miss one year. I created an Orange County program that was, I felt like Orange County, how can you not have a representative from Orange County, California? How can that happen? I'm from Orange County. Why? I've got to make sure this happens. So gathered a bunch of my friends from Disney and from my community and my family, and we put on a program. So I kind of glossed over this production role. So let's talk about that for 1 second. So in my production role, I kind of fell into it. Our choreographer at the time, who I have a tremendous amount of respect for, Jim Bates, there was some transition happening, and ultimately he's like, Donna, I know what you do for your profession. Is there any way that you could come and lead the production team through this transition? So I'm like, how can I say no? Somebody I have so much respect for. He was so much a part of my experience. I'm like, of course, Jim, I will do whatever I can. I'm not sure how to do it, but I'll figure it out. So that led to me leading the production team for an extended period of time. But what happened was, as much as I was lending my expertise to a program, I learned so much from doing that helped what I call my professional toolbox to be able to call on those experiences in different parts of my professional career, even to the point of a very important pivotal time in my professional career. Because of my time at Junior Miss, because I nurtured the relationships that I had with the people through this program, all across the state of California, all across the country, because I decided, I made that intentional decision to be involved. I made the intentional decision to take the little bit of vacation time I had while I was working and take it off to go and do Junior Miss for a week and a half, 2 weeks, to help other young women. I'm still so passionate about the program you all are involved in because of what it can do for you. It doesn't feel like that right now. And I'm going to, I feel like I'm going to say an old comment because I am kind of old. you're just going to have to believe me when I say you're going to look back at this experience and whatever you put into it, it will be worthwhile. It will, even if it's just one person that someday at some point is going to come back into your life and go, gosh, if I hadn't done that, if I hadn't poured in effort into those relationships, that networking, that program, giving it my all, I wouldn't have been able to do this, right? So my point to my story to all of that was I worked at Disney for 23 years. I had an amazing career. I'm going to make this story very short. They decided to dissolve my position and laid me off. Very unpredictable. Did not see it coming. I had spent 23 years in my career thinking this is what I was going to do. And it was gone. And my confidence level went in the toilet. All that I knew of my toolbox, which was very unique. It was not it seriously wasn't I didn't feel like it was a group of skills that I could apply very well. So I had a very hard time period in that window. Became a consultant, created my own business, successful, all of that. But there was a time period where I was not in a very good place. But I continued to go back every summer to Junior Miss. And what I realized was because of Junior Miss, because I was able to go back and lead a team, because I was able to go back and because I also stage managed the show. So I called all the cues. I coordinated, like Casey took over from me, coordinated all of the parts and pieces that go together to put on a show. And what I realized that year as I came back home and I talked to Jim about this, and I said, because you believed in me, you believed that I could do this, and you allowed me the opportunity to grow. You allowed me, by giving me the opportunity that I said yes to an experience, it gave me the opportunity to now have confidence again. So this little picture that I showed you was just the beginning of what Junior Miss has done in my life. Did I get scholarship money that helped my family? Yes. Nothing like what y'all are getting, but yes, it completely changed my life. I thought in this moment in time, when I was Junior Miss, when I was in high school, I was going to become a nurse. I had taken every math and science class in high school. That's where I wanted to be. My aunt had passed away from cancer, and I was passionate about, I didn't think she got the greatest care. So I wanted to be that nurse that was going to care for the family, that was going to care for the patient, that was going to be different, that wasn't just going to go in and out of a room, that I was going to be present and encouraging. That's where my fork in the road happened. So I was going to be a nurse. After Junior Miss and after being Disneyland Ambassador finalist, what I realized about myself was, while I still had this passion about nursing, what I realized was back up. I was at UCLA. Nursing, you had to be a pre-med student at UCLA. Was not going to happen. I was ambassador finalist, spent 10 days in Florida in the middle of a 10-week quarter at UCLA. Wasn't going to happen. So what I realized about myself in that moment was what I'm passionate about is representing something I believe in. Whether that is Junior Miss in my own personal life or in my professional life, be Disney, I realized that that's the path that my life needed to take, because that's what gives me excitement to wake up every day, excitement knowing that every day is different, and I can make the choice to make a difference today. And while nursing, super important, I realized that was not the path that I was meant to go down. So I took this crazy path with Disney and live events and managing people, and this toolbox of crazy skills that I was able to bring to Junior Miss, as well as other parts of my life. So I ended up with my degree in psychology, which is kind of, I knew I was not going to be a clinical psychologist. So I got my degree, which I'm thankful for, but I knew that I was going to use that degree because I had the determination I set out to do something at UCLA and I accomplished it. I got my degree. I was working my way through school. And I never thought I'd be at Disney as long as I was, but those paths, those doors kept opening for me because I allowed myself to be open to opportunities. Sometimes the one question I cannot stand when I'm a judge for Junior Miss, I hate asking the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? That is a question I've never been able to answer. And my own personal opinion about that is, if you have this roadmap that you've created for yourself that is very specific, I'm going to go to this college, I'm going to do this master's program, I'm going to work doing this, and I'm going to become a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, whatever. Make sure you, on that journey, you allow yourself to let life speak into those goals, because who you know today is different than who you know tomorrow. And what you do with those relationships is what is going to help you open the doors to your life purpose. Hopefully that makes sense. For me, it did. And I got to have the unique opportunity to have that aha moment. So fast forward, I work for a nonprofit. I kind of glossed over that real quickly. I work for a nonprofit called the Jesse Reese Foundation now. And very quickly, it was founded by an 11-year-old little girl named Jessie, who was diagnosed with inoperable and incurable brain cancer. Jessie, when she was in treatment, she was not in the hospital. She was doing outpatient treatment. And one day, in the back of her mom and dad's car coming back from treatment, she said to them, when do all those other kids get to go home? And she was pointing at the children's hospital and where all the other kids were inpatient. And they had to explain to her that sometimes they are there for weeks and months, sometimes years. And her heart broke. So here's an 11-year-old little girl who's fighting for her life in not so fun treatment. And her heart was all about, how do we make other kids happy? How do we help their journey and make them smile? So she created joy jars, which are, I don't have a packed one. It looks like this, but it's real. This is not real, obviously. So the joy jars are 64-ounce containers that contain activities and toys that are age specific, with the intention to put a smile on the kids' faces, to keep them distracted and give them something to do. That was where her heart was. So while Jessie fought for 10 months and 2 days before she moved to heaven, she got to actually stuff and deliver with her family 3,000 of these joy jars. Now we are at 9 years later, and we have delivered over 300,000 joy jars in all 50 states, in over 40 countries, because Jessie actually left us with a mission. Her motto was never, ever give up. And she shortened that to NEGU, which is really important how you say that. Some people like to say NEGU or NEGU. She would always point to her knee and say goo. So it's NEGU, and that was her motto. And so she left us with an important mission, and that was to find and encourage every child fighting cancer to NEGU. So every day, that's what I do now. I get up and I figure out ways to make sure that we can reach every child, because Jessie asked us to. So Jessie has a little wristband, and So a little story about that. So I actually got to meet Jessie once, and I will never forget that moment. Her dad had given me my wristband, and so I asked Jessie, she was sitting there painting her nails. I asked Jessie to put it on my wrist, and I actually wore that wristband for 6.5 years. And one day I went to put my pajamas on, and it was gone. Broke my heart. I knew the day would happen, but I really felt like I had Jessie with me in everything that I did. It was what reminded me of why I go through the craziness that I do in this nonprofit, why I work a bazillion hours, why I do what I do. And so for a couple of days, I was just really distraught, the fact that I missed Jessie on my wrist. And so Jessie had a chemo buddy named Cade, and hopefully you'll get a chance to follow Cade. He's got an amazing story. But I saw Cade about 3 days later, and so all of a sudden I said, you know what, Cade, would you mind putting my wristband on? Because you're always with me in my heart as well. And that would make me only one step removed from Jessie, because you and Jessie were chemo buddies. So this wristband has been on for 3 years, and I have not had it off. I don't take it off for anything, nothing. So this is my ongoing reminder to never, ever give up, because Jessie asked us to. So there was a moment in time when all of my story came together. And that was, I was at a nursing conference up in Lake Arrowhead, and we were representing, another girl and I were representing the foundation. And we were talking to nurses at this conference. And I always want to hear about, because we very rarely get to go into the hospital to actually deliver the jars. We ship them to the hospital because of all the regulations. But we also have an all-star program of Olympians and amazing athletes who they do allow them to go in. So I don't know if any of you are gymnastics followers, but like Madison Koshin, Jordan Weber, some Major League Soccer, Kellen Rowe, Deshaun Watson, football, Patrick Mahomes actually wears a wristband. We've got an amazing slate of professional athletes and all-stars that do get to go in. But most often the jars are delivered by either the nurse or a child life specialist. And I wanted to ask the nurses, I said, so have you ever delivered an actual jar? And I found a nurse who had. And so I'm like, okay, stop for a minute. And can you please just rewind the tape and describe to me what that was like? You're a nurse. I wanted to be a nurse. What was it like to actually take a jar when you're the one who goes into the room and ends up poking people? You're the one who has to do things to these kids that's not fun. You're the ones who they probably don't want you in their room, but you got to go into a room and deliver a joy jar. What was it like? And all of a sudden, as she went through the description of what happened, it was like this aha moment, like multiplied by 100, happened in my head. Here I was, somebody who had gone through high school and had everything focused on, I'm going to be a nurse. I'm going to be the nurse that's different. I'm going to be the nurse that can create happiness. I'm going to be the nurse that is going to bring joy. And all of a sudden, that's what I do. It's not me personally. I would have been only one person. I would have been one nurse who did that. Instead, I ended up on this crazy path with my career. Events, nursing, what? And so I ended up on this crazy journey with my toolbox getting filled with things that prepared me to be able to do this job. I never in a million years would have thought that that's what I would end up doing. And so it was this moment in time where I really felt so incredibly grateful that on this side of heaven, I got a glimmer as to what my purpose on earth is. And so it really comes back to, because I allowed myself to be involved, I allowed myself to challenge myself, I allowed myself to open up doors that I didn't plan to open, that it put me in a position where I could exponentially do what I wanted to do as one nurse. I'm empowering thousands of nurses to be able to do what I wanted to do and doing it the way I felt like nurses should do it. Crazy story. It's one of those things that, because I go back to, because I was involved, I listed off all those other things that I do in Boy Scouts and blah, 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 blah. I was also involved in my church. And during that very dark period of time when I was looking for work, I ended up turning to my church. And I said, okay, well, in the meantime, my husband said, you know what? Encourage me. Go volunteer. You might meet somebody that could help you get connected. You never know. And I'm like, I'm not a networker. I'm really not good at it. And it put me outside of my comfort zone. But I ended up connecting with somebody at church thinking I wanted to volunteer for a particular role. And to be able to volunteer for that role, I had to have a conversation with this person. This person ended up talking to me for 3 hours. And I'm like, is it really that hard to volunteer for this role at church? And she finally said, you know what? I'm going to tell you. She goes, yeah, you can get plugged in at church. That's not a big deal. But have you heard about Jessie Reese? And I said, well, I kind of did, because Jessie was the daughter of one of our pastors. And so she said, actually, we're in the process of putting on our very first gala, and we don't know what we're doing. And so if you're at all interested, it sounds like you have time in your hands, and obviously it's not going to pay any money, but so I can't solve that part of your challenges right now. But if you're at all interested, I'd like to connect you with Eric Reese, her dad. So 2 days later, I ended up in his office. 3 hours later, in a tissue box later, he looked at me and he said, you're our answer to prayer. We have people that know how to do silent auction. We have people who know how to do registration. We have people who know how to do certain parts and pieces, but we have nobody who knows how to pull all of this together and produce an event. Well, this crazy 23-year career at Disney that I thought I was going to be a nurse filled this toolbox for that moment in time when I could take all those skills that I learned through Junior Miss, Disney, consulting, and now say I could actually make a difference for children fighting cancer. And so that's what got me started. And so I started as a volunteer. Literally, I think I was working 20 hours a day as a volunteer, like we did with Junior Miss, and ultimately now has led to me being on staff. I'm the Senior Director of Events and Communication. We have a very small team, but we're a very mighty team, very much similar to what Junior Miss is all about. People just do what they need to do to get it done, because what our focus is creating smiles. And it's not just, we've grown more than just the jar now, and we actually have an entire year worth of encouragement that we send to kids fighting cancer and their families. You can well imagine some of these kids, sadly, move to heaven like Jessie did. But in the meantime, their families, think about what you all are doing in the craziness of quarantine and COVID and all of that. Think about every day, 46 more children are told they have cancer. 46. The day before, they didn't know their journey was going to include cancer. And the next day, it's 46 more kids. And these are kids, innocent kids. So while we hurry up, we want the cure people to hurry up and find a cure. In the meantime, we can do something today by creating smiles. We can create those priceless memories that sometimes is all a family has to hang on to if their child moves to heaven. So I'm going to leave you with a challenge, a couple challenges. I hope, number one, that I've inspired you to live your day with open thoughts, with the intention of making your day count, that this group that you are involved in, you never know. I want you to be sitting in this chair 10 years from now and inspiring other young women because of something you found out about yourself during this program, the fact that you connected with these people, the fact that you connect with volunteers. It's not just the girls involved in the program. It's Casey, It's all of the volunteers that goes toward putting together this program. So I challenge you to do that. But if you're at all interested, as I was telling Casey, as I was trying to tie this all together, you just came off of August, which was Be Healthy, right? So fitness is part of this program. So more than likely, I'm talking to a group of people who already has fitness built into your routine. Fitness is important. I've realized that as much as I was a dancer and my dancer feet hurt when I'm older, there are certain things you can do, certain things you can't. So focus on what you can, not what you can't. Same thing goes for COVID. Focus on what you can, not focus on what you can't, because your days will be dark if it's, I can't do this, I can't do that. What you can do is you can make a difference. So if you're at all, well, the other thing I wanted to ask that I didn't, but we're out of time. I would have been more curious to know what each one of you would say is, how are you involved in your community? And what I'm going to encourage you to do is, I know you are, because that's what this program is all about. I know you're involved. I want to challenge you to make sure what you're involved in, you are involved in a way that is important to you, that it is not something that you're involved in to put on your resume. You can, or worse, you're not involved in something so that you can talk about it in your junior miss interview. Because believe me, as a judge, you see right through that. If you can talk with passion about, like I hope you just heard me talk about passion for kids fighting cancer, if you can talk with passion about whatever it is you're involved with, that's my challenge to you. Be involved in something that fills you up, not just looking at your calendar and in between your calculus and your Zoom calls and your gym workouts and your talent workouts. It's like, oh, I've got to go work at the YMCA, or oh, I've got to go give my volunteer hours. You need to find a different way to be involved. If you ever feel like that, challenge yourself to go, what am I passionate about? And what is it that I can look forward to serving? Because that's what being involved is about. If you look forward to these Zoom calls because you're invested in wanting to get something out of it, then that's exciting. You're doing something that's important. So there's two things, real quickly, there's two things that are happening. You can go to negu.org, which is negu.org/challenge. I think Casey has pulled together some information for you.
Yep, I'll send
you
after the meeting.
Yeah, so she'll send you all of that. I'm just going to real briefly tell you there's two things that you can do. One of them, it would make my heart really happy. All it is taking your hand and writing I on one hand, Negu on the other, taking a picture of yourself like this, and hopefully Casey will have some photos. If not, I can send her some. Or you can actually go on social media, go on Instagram and type in hashtag, well, you can, I'm going to give you hashtag #INeedYouChallenge. You'll see them, or you can see all the photos from last year if you go to hashtag #INeedYouDoYou. So you'll see we had amazing people we don't say raise our hands because that's we hold up your hands for kids fighting cancer. And what that does is it shows all those courageous kids, is what we call them, which are kids fighting cancer, we call courageous kids. When we flood the internet with that, it shows those kids they're not alone. It shows those kids that we are encouraging them to never ever give up, which is what Jesse asked us to do. So flood the internet with your hands challenge, hashtag #INeedYouChallenge, and that way we can track and see everything. You'll notice if you go back and look at the photos from last year, one of the photos that we had, understandably, the most number of likes and shares, Sweet Kobe Bryant actually posted an I Need You Hands challenge. Kobe supported our foundation, actually came into the Joy Factory several times. And so it really broke our heart with what has happened. So anyway, I Need You Challenge is free. It's just a show of support. You know you're doing something that it might seem super simple, but those courageous kids are watching and they're feeling inspired by you. The other one is a 46K challenge, which is a run walk challenge. I'm saying you can do 46K, you can do 46 miles, you can do 4.6 miles, you can do 46 laps around your block, you can do 46 minutes. Importance of 46, because every day 46 kids are told they have cancer. So we're encouraging what we call Migu Nation to engage in this run walk challenge. You can do it on your own terms. You can do it in one day. You can do it across all of September. I've taken the challenge to do the 46K throughout the whole entire month. I don't run, so I'm going to walk. I missed yesterday, which is really bad, because I'm walking for all of these kids. So if you choose to sign up for this through our website, it is a $50 donation. Just going to put that out there. I'm not asking you guys to do it, but just know that that $50 means that 2 of these joy jars get sent to kids fighting cancer. So by you being active and out there moving and doing something, you are creating smiles for 2 kids, which is actually 4, because during September we have a match going on, a donors matching up to $100,000. So if no pressure, if you choose to get involved with this challenge, you will be putting smiles on the faces of 4 kids fighting cancer because they'll get a joy jar. So yeah, all of these sweet little kids right here, I actually knew. Some of them are in heaven. Some of them are bravely fighting. Some of them are in remission. But this is my why. This is why getting involved is important. This is why Junior Miss and what I did and my journey has come to today, because every day I get to get up and know I make a difference. And how beautiful is life when you know that it's something, your days are something more than yourself. And this program you're involved in helps to create a network that, that depending on what you do with it, will help you with that. So I want to leave you with, Casey is telling me, she asks you all at the end of these sessions, what can you take away from today? I hope you answer that. I hope you've taken something away from today, but I'm going to challenge you is, what are you putting in? Casey's doing a lot of things to feed into your life, to connect you all. You can walk away from this program having taken a lot out of this program. What are you putting in? My hope for you is you'll invest in these relationships, that you'll invest in your community. You will invest in making sure this program continues on. So many of you said at the beginning of this that you did it because you had a family member or a friend. This program lives because of word of mouth. This program lives because the spirit that is connected with this organization is what inspires people to be involved. So I hope, Casey has a big goal of growing the program back to what it is, what it was. And like I said, there were 60 girls involved back in my dark ages. 60 girls. I can't wait for the day that I get to high five Casey, hug her, hopefully by then, and celebrate that this program has grown to 60 young women again. That's 60 young women who are out there active in their community, physically fit, articulate, talented, focusing on giving back, not just themselves. So I think I probably should stop talking now because I'm 8 minutes over. Anyway, hopefully that was okay, Casey.
That was amazing. That was awesome. I think that was so fantastic. I'm sure the girls loved it. Yep, we're getting some thank yous in the chat. I know a lot of you do have to go, and I appreciate you all for coming. I know the Zoom schedules with school and everything have been really crazy, so thank you. But I'm inspired to go and get involved in something. I mean, I already have quite with DYW, but I'm like invigorated. I want to go do something today. So I hope you all feel that way too. All right.
Awesome.
You all.
And also, Casey, feel free to give them my contact information if anybody ever has any questions or anything. I always have a soft spot in my heart for DYW, CJM, anything, whether it's professional, personal, whatever. Give them my email address, whatever. I'm for you.
I will. Awesome. Okay. Well, then I will send all of that when I send this. And if you want to watch this again, or you have friends in your little smaller groups texting you if it's up or not, I will send out an email and I will put it in the Google Classroom as soon as I get it fully uploaded. Okay. Well, thank you.
I'm encouraging all of you during this crazy year. You guys need to never, ever give up, because challenges are off the chart. So I'm encouraging you. I can't wait to watch you in January, whether it's however we get to watch you. I am encouraging you and cheering you on from afar. Hang in there.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you so much, girls. I will send that all to you, and have a fantastic weekend. Stay safe. If you're in fire territory, stay safe, stay inside. Rolling blackouts today, so just be careful, all right? Have a great day, you guys. Thank you all so much. Have a good
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Awesome. Thank you so much. It's just us now. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate everything.
Hi.
Hi.
Who else is on? Oh, that's me.
It's your other online. Yeah. So we're good.
Got it.